And I quote, "Never continue in a job you don't enjoy. If you're happy in what you're doing, you'll like yourself. You'll have inner peace. And if you have that, along with physical health, you will have more success than you could have possibly ever imagined." It's a hell of a quote, huh? And guess who said it? You'll never guess. Get involved, get loud, and think on the brink. Welcome to our special series, American Values at the Crossroads. It's interesting. It's an interesting series of topics we've been tackling for you. It's Malcolm Out Loud. Welcome to the show. Well, you're joining us from national radio and from our television show. Welcome. Interesting topics we've been covering with you. Today, we're going to cover your career, business, talk about jobs, all of the things that fit into that part of our lives, our e-commerce lives, if you will, capitalism, happy capitalism. I want to read you a quote, and then guess who said this? I'm going to ask you who said it. And I quote, "Never continue in a job you don't enjoy. If you're happy in what you're doing, you'll like yourself. You'll have inner peace. And if you have that, along with physical health, you will have more success than you could have possibly ever imagined." It's a hell of a quote, huh? And guess who said it? You'll never guess. Johnny Carson. And you think of Johnny Carson, you think of a man who had success in his life and who felt comfortable in his skin. When you seen Johnny perform, you knew he was comfortable. You knew he was doing what he should be doing in his life. And that's cool. And that's the topic of today, my friends. So I want to introduce you to Dr. Beverly Jackson. And she's been on the show before. Absolutely love her. And she's president of DrBev Mental Health Counseling, author, psychotherapist, and I love this part, to real people with regular lives, doing regular things, and experiencing real-time drama, trauma, and chaos in their life. And that about is every one of us, I think. Also, J.V. Crum. I love this man as well. J.V. Crum III. He's the founder of Conscious Millionaire, consciousmillionaire.com. And Dr. Bev is DrBevMentalHealth.com. We'll get more into this a little bit later with you. But J.V., first of all, is best-selling author of the new book, Conscious Millionaire, Grow Your Business by Making a Difference. It's a great title. He's a business coach and speaker. He's sought after for his unique ability to help entrepreneurs combine their passion and purpose into a solid strategy for making high profits and making a difference. What I really like about the message JV has is he talks about making that difference. And it's one of the things I've done when 27 years in the corporate world, on the marketing side of things. I don't know, there was always something in me as a little boy that wanted to make a difference in the world. Now, some people would laugh at that, and I sort of just laughed back at them, because I knew I was right. But it was my goal to make a difference. Whatever that meant, I was on that page. Welcome to both of you.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thank you for having me back.
It's wonderful to have you. I'm thrilled to have both of you, really. So this is a great topic. It's about doing what you want to do in life, what you should be doing. It's about pursuing your vision. It's about all of those things. Boy, and I think Johnny Carson covered it well in that quote. I mean,
I've got one for you. There's nothing great in the world has been accomplished without passion. And that's one thing you can say about Johnny Carson. Every night I stayed up to see him.
I did too.
For years
Don't you miss
and years
him,
and years.
Dr. Bev? Don't you miss him?
I miss him.
I miss
it
that
was
man.
just like...
I think the thing he had with authenticity.
Authenticity.
He was real.
He was just real. Yeah,
Love it.
He was real.
Love
absolutely.
it. We could package that.
Yeah.
And
well,
we
and
could
I think
package that
that's
in
the real
everyone.
path for your career. If it doesn't feel real, what you're doing, I don't care if you have a career or business, doesn't matter what it is, you need to go make a change. Because you're never going to be happy or fulfilled.
But
and
so
you're
many
never
people
gonna
aren't
live your
doing that,
destiny.
JD.
See, people-
Well, I think 80-90% of the people hate what they do.
They
every
hate
day.
it.
And this is the biggest
It's like being in
sadness.
prison.
The numbers on that is it's 80%. And the reason is people are afraid of failure.
Fear.
They're afraid of success. So they're afraid to be afraid.
Yeah, because
so
you
they
can't get
stay
success, you
stuck.
have to fail.
There you go.
You can't
have
get
to
there,
fail.
otherwise
you have
we
to
all
fail.
know that,
And we have
right?
to fail
And
a
you
lot,
get
and we have to get it.
comfortable.
You get comfortable. That's
Right.
the other thing.
And
they get
comfort,
comfortable.
everything that I've ever experienced that really mattered, every client I've ever had that had a breakthrough, it happens outside your comfort. We all have to get uncomfortable
Yes.
to become truly successful.
Yes. Yes, going
well said.
outside of that
Yeah.
comfort zone, and then forgetting and moving past that emotional part,
Which
where
is the
you
hardest.
believe
That's the
it is
hardest.
the hardest, because that sense of failure starts at a real early age. Maybe it started with you trying to ride your bike, you fell off of it, and you went, I'll never try that again.
Well, you
and
can't.
guess
Gotta
how
get
that
back on the bike.
Yeah, and guess how that snowballs
Right, absolutely.
into your career and being successful, and then being passionate.
You know what I
about it.
want to share with you quickly? When I was 5 years back, when I was the CEO, creative director of the agency, when I did that for a living. So on Fridays, all right, a lot of the times when you have a group of people, they get complacency, right? So complacency is one of the 5 human ailments I talk about all the time. That
Yeah,
is
there
a
you go.
problem, right? Complacency. So I seen that a lot with employees in the agency. So what I would do on a Friday afternoon is people would go home, would have you. I'd come in on the weekend, and I would literally move the furniture around in the room, and I did it so many times. And I would create different rooms. I'd actually not only move the furniture around, but I'd move the rooms around.
Oh my
So I'd
goodness.
I'd create the battle room and the strategy room and the war room here, and change the office, and I'd get the tech guy in there only when they knew to change some of the tech stuff, and I would change it. Well, they would come in Monday and they would be flabbergasted, totally out of their comfort zone, and like go into convulsions almost, like,
But that's where your creative thought comes from.
But not only that,
Yeah.
change is the thing that frightens people the
Totally.
most. But change is the place where success starts.
Right, that's right. All right, I want to start on this job versus career program here. I think we can all admit it's much less work when you're doing what you love in life.
yes.
Well,
God
absolutely.
forbid work. Who wants to work?
Well,
I say
because
I
when
go
you're
to
doing
play.
that, we talk about job and work. Let's talk about play.
Yeah.
Yeah, play.
Let's get
That's
up
it.
to play every day.
And that's what I do. When I wake up, I say,
Yeah.
I'm going to play.
That's it.
I don't say I'm going to work.
know you
I don't say I'm running behind time. No,
We're running on perfect time. Is what we're
I-
doing. You and I know that.
I am here
Right.
in the present moment where I should be,
Absolutely.
doing my passion and what I love. And it wakes me up in the morning, and I'm just bursting with the things that I can accomplish during the day.
You are a
with
gift.
Human
You are a
beings
gift.
and changing their lives and
Right.
seeing that light in their face. That just sparks me. I'm like, oh
And-
wow, let's go play in the
and
sandbox
that's-
again.
That is true for everyone when you are living your path.
Yes.
Okay, so let's.
That is where you find your joy.
All right, so I want you to now, JV, let's dive into that a little bit for me. I want to get practical here a moment on this. Job versus career. Now,
Right.
there are a lot of people listening that are, and seeing us here, that have a job. We all have to have the economic part of this handled.
Absolutely.
We have to survive. We have to pay the bills, right? Okay. So we have this job thing. And a lot of us a lot of people have a vision of things they want to do. For me, it took me 10 years before I left the agency world to convince myself enough to leave the CEO. I made a lot of money with doing that work. You understand? And I had to convince myself. I mean, I knew I didn't want to be in the business. I wanted to get the hell out 10, 20 years before that, and I stayed in because of the money, right? And it was only then that I finally took the leap myself, which I call take the leap. I said, well, it was probably insane because I left a lot of money on the table. But I said, you know what? I had enough of this. I'm out of here, man.
There you go.
And I'm not going to waste the rest of my life doing something I really don't want to do anymore, period. And I want to go talk to the mass. I want to get on radio, television. I want to raise some hell, have some fun, use my experience, So, but there are a lot of people who have this vision for things they want to do in their life, whatever it is, whether it's to be a veterinarian, whether it's to be the best, whatever it possibly is, open up a restaurant, become a, whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. Move up the corporate ladder, open up a business. It doesn't have to be just a business. It could be open corporate ladder. It could be change of position. Could be, something that they've been thinking about. And yet they can't seem to take those first few steps. It is like, for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, please.
Yeah, I think the first one, and Dr. Bev, you hit on it. It's just that paralyzing fear of the unknown. It's safer emotionally to stay over here where you're totally numbed out, not alive. You're not really alive. When you have a job, I think job by itself defines that you are doing something that you are not, is not your joy, is not your authentic path. It's not, and you're not being of service to yourself or anybody else at your highest level. And it's your highest level that you bring the most value. And guess what? When you bring the most value, that's when people have it all backwards. I have to work with the entrepreneurs I work with so much to get this. It's about adding value first in a way that's true and joyful for you. And that's when the money comes pouring back. It's not when you go, and yet people hook themselves into this little narrow box that says, I make 52,000 or I make 87,000. And it's all about the 52 or
It's
the
all about
87.
economics, all about
Right.
money.
But guess what?
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, you could make more living the authentic purpose. Let yourself go out there and try it, because the worst thing that happens, you failed. How many times have
But
you
JB,
failed already?
some people are going to say, "Okay, great, but
I got to support my
how
family.
do I pay the bills?"
Right. I got to pay the
What's the
mortgage.
answer to that, buddy? Do you know?
I think the answer is that you've got to be practical about it. I don't think you jump off a cliff. I think you sit here right now today and you say, a year from now, what do I want to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
And you start putting your money aside, you start changing your lifestyle so that you prepare for that transition, but you don't let it be more than a year.
I've been cliff
Because
jumping all
you're-
my life. What the
yeah.
hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Beth.
I call it edge play.
Now we're talking about a little bit
Edge
different.
play.
Because we're all three entrepreneurs, and that's a little bit different.
Yeah, I've been cliff jumping
Yeah.
all my
That is a
life.
little bit
Right.
because we jump off of cliffs. That's what we do.
That's it, buddy. No parachutes.
But I think by definition, if somebody has a job or a career, you've got to get in the right
Well
one
said. Well
for
said.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
And you got to prepare for it. You got to
Take
be
the
ready
steps,
for it,
whatever they may be.
But don't make it more than a year, because this is your life, and at some moment you're going to die. And when you look back, you're not going to care about your bank account.
Well, there's so
You're
many
gonna care about
talented
the
people who
life
have.
you live.
There's so many people who have incredible talent that never see the light of day. You understand? That kills me.
Right.
Not only that,
They
when you
don't
think
live the
about
reason they're here.
you think about the young people who we tell them, okay, you've got to go to college, you've got to go to do this. Then once they get in college, they're told, now you are to seek a job.
Right.
Not a career.
We put
You're
them in
to
a
seek
box,
job.
Dr. Bev. We put them in a box.
and we say you are to seek a job, and you're
That's
to
it.
build
Conformist.
on that. You're
That's
to
it.
build on that resume.
That's it.
I was listening to TEDx today, and this guy was given the same information. He went to a Fortune 500 company. Okay, he's going to build his resume, and he's just going to job hop and do that. He was miserable. He said he'd just throw his head on the computer like, God, can you just take me now? Okay. Finally, he decided. He had one of those visions, one of those moments where he decided to edge play. He said, you know what? I am getting sick health-wise.
Right.
Mentally, emotionally, I'm sick. I don't want to do anything Monday through Friday, and then it's the weekend, and that's it. He says, that's it. He says, within 2 weeks, he edge played. He jumped off the cliff, and he said, you know what? This is it. Right now, this guy's worth millions, teaching other people how to
Love
do
it.
that, teaching other people how to fail,
Right.
how to
It's-
fail to
I'm-
get
I'm-
to success.
I'm listening to what you're saying, and it seems to me the critical question is, how long are you willing to settle for less than what you could have?
Well, you know,
Hopefully not another day, I hope.
Right. Yeah,
well,
because
but-
that's really what you're saying. For 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, he said, "I'm not willing to settle anymore.
I'm not willing to settle.
I'm not willing to settle."
Too many people are settling.
Right.
They're settling. And we got to get them not to settle, because that's the empowerment of it all. And that's where our country thrives.
That's
Right.
what America was built on.
That's it.
People who took risks
That's it.
to come here, to be here, to do this, to do that. They took a risk. They didn't know that they were going to succeed,
Right.
but they had the vision. They had that faith that they would, and they did.
Okay. All right. I want to now. This is a tough one. What I want to talk to you about now. Okay. And I haven't been able to really. I can't say I have the answer for this, so I'm hoping maybe one of you do. Okay. I don't. But here we go. All right. So let me say it this way: the unexpected is never expected. We agree?
We agree.
It's never expected. We don't expect the unexpected. Okay. All right. It's a moron statement, I guess. So. The point is, do not let the unexpected to derail your plans. So, the conversation I want to have is persistency versus stupidity. All right, so to me, they're two parallel universes, okay? Yet, when you're at the crucial moment when you need to decide in your life, do you go forward or do you change direction? Some people say throw in the towel, whatever you want to call that, okay? Whatever the quote on that is, throw in the towel, change direction, whatever. And how does one really know? Because I often wonder about this persistency and stupidity comment. To me, they're two parallel universes, and I see people do this, and I see people get past the point of no return, and they keep, well, there's the saying, like, how do you keep doing the same thing and expect a different result? Duh. And then well, how do you keep doing the same thing because you're going to succeed eventually because you were so damn persistent? How do you judge that?
Well, you know, it's something that you said earlier. You were saying about, you know, how you plan for this movement of change. Many people get stuck. But what happens when you plan for it? When you're planning for your passion, you're willing to work 24/7. You're willing to go to that 8-hour job and come back home and then work another 10 or 12 hours. I know it because I did it.
We all-
we all had to jump off that
But what
cliff
if it's not
and-
going well? That's the point.
But
Or
there
whatever.
again, it's that persistence.
Okay.
We're too stupid, and thank goodness we don't know what's going to happen next. Stupidity, hey, it's not the.
So I have a sign on my
So,
fridge: never, never, never give up. And I've had it for years.
Exactly.
It's there. All right. I never, never, never give up. But at what point does someone in my role, whoever, not me, specifically, someone else, and the vision, and then they're failing at it, and we know you got to get there to get successful. But JV, But like, when's the stupidity pot come in when you say, "Well, damn, you're an idiot. You've been doing the same crap for that long, and you're still getting the same, and you're still doing it? Like, you're like 93 years old, Malcolm. Now get over it, man."
Well, I think at the core of all this, I call it your true north.
Okay.
Is there is some passionate difference every one of us is on Earth to do. I don't believe there's an accident that any person on Earth is here.
Exactly.
I think we're on this planet and that
Exactly.
every one of us has a divine mission and we have a reason for being here and that we can uplift humanity and our lives.
So you're all here for that reason.
Well,
and
I
Joe's
believe-
here
I
for
believe
that
everybody
reason,
is
right?
here
We're
for
all
that
here
reason.
for that reason.
Absolutely. And so the question is, if you constantly are finding, I put it like, if you're trying to put a round peg in a square hole, right?
Use a
It doesn't
chainsaw.
fit.
Use a chainsaw.
No, what I say is notice it doesn't fit.
Right.
It doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit, and pay attention
I see.
to your feeling inside.
That's a good point.
Is
Gut
this the
feeling.
right path for me?
Right.
Or maybe all these things aren't working because it's not the right
I
direction.
like that. So
That's how I answer
I like that. So the square in the round peg. That's an interesting metaphor.
We're just going to soar because we have so many.
Oh, yeah,
And what's
Yeah.
even ironic
like
about that
minded.
is someone
Come
had
on.
told me in my mind to get JV and
Well, now,
Dr. Bev together.
And then see how this
getting
works?
in the zone.
This is the zone.
This is the
taking,
zone.
Someone
this
else
is
was
taking
supposed
the
to be
lead.
here, but as you know,
Right.
JV's got to be
Right.
here.
But that zone comes from listening and knowing, are you really being present and are you moving forward authentically and does it feel right? Because all of us can feel if we're in the right direction.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I have traveled all over the world, a lot of times by myself. Midnight, I've gone down strange alleys. I have never had a problem.
Yes.
I've never been attacked. I've never had anybody try to rob me. I've never had any of that happen because I just noticed. This is part of what I talk about in Conscious Millionaire. It's part of being conscious and aware because that everything that's happening around you, you've got to be taking in the information. So I think the stupidity is not waking up and noticing what's going on in your own life.
Yeah.
And not noticing what's going on in your own body, but especially what's going on in your own emotions.
Absolutely.
If you don't notice that, then yes, you do keep
yes,
going
it's
around
body,
You gotta be
mind,
conscious
and
of it.
around
You
and
gotta be
around in the
conscious
wheel.
of it.
But
Yeah.
then we have to accept part of that stupidity to help us. And to use that word, I'm not sure if I'm real comfortable with that word, by the way, Malcolm.
Which one?
Stupidity.
Yeah.
But I'm going to let it
Well,
be that.
let's frame stupidity as not waking up.
And not waking up. Okay, I like that. Not waking up. And when
Not
we don't
waking
wake up, it's because we're not being our authentic self.
Absolutely.
That's why this guy is as famous
know.
as he is.
Right.
He is as authentic and real as it can be. What
And
How
I
can-
think
how can
most
you- how can
people
you go
who are
wrong with
highly
that?
successful over a period of time are living authentically.
and they want to help somebody else.
Right.
They want to
Yeah.
serve the world.
It's-
They want
it's
to
all
do
about
some
giving.
humanitarian effort, and that's what it's all about for me. That's what makes it fun for me.
Right.
And that makes me happy.
Right.
Again, my passion, getting up in the morning and seeing.
Well, let's pause
what you
there
make
just a
happen.
quick moment. I'm going to tell folks that, when we pause just a moment, we come back, we got some really cool things we want to chat about. One of the things, it's an interesting topic, adversity, but adversity being an advantage, using it to your advantage. Adversity being used as an advantage in your career. Actually, I did a series of these, adversity to be used as an advantage in your career, in life, in society, and relationships, actually. And I think there's life, society, career, relationships. It's another video book I'm putting together here at the present time, but adversity. But I want to talk about adversity in our careers and how that can be an advantage with JV and Dr. Bev when we come back. And also the balance of work versus play, where that fine line is and how we just, our competitiveness, we all being paid what we should be paid, or should we be paid more? And we'll talk more about that as well. So we'll continue on with the series here in just a moment. But before I do, again, I want to again give a quick shout out to one of our national sponsors we're thrilled to have on, and that is Closets by Design. They're just an incredible firm. They're all over the country. Just go to closetsbydesign.com. And so, all right, so I hired them a few years back. They came in to do, you know, when you have this empty room, this little closet, and you need to get like your dresses in there and your stuff hanging, everything where it fits, you know, into all of these things. And so they came in and did that, and it was so cool. I actually hired them to do some bookshelves and stuff in the study. And then I wanted a wine cellar in the dining room, so they put that up too as well. So they customize, but they do a lot more of the closets. They do garages, closets, kitchens, the whole bit. It was actually cheaper using folks like that than going buying the furniture. So closetsbydesign.com. The code, if you tell them out loud, they'll give you 40% off the whatever you're getting, and free installation. So, but you have to tell them out loud. So that's the code. So use that again, and we'll be right back after the break. Right back with you.
Get your home organized now with Closets by Design and get 40% off plus free installation. To schedule a free in-home design consultation, call 1-800-BY-DESIGN or visit closetsbydesign.com for more details.
Well, welcome back to our special series, American Values at the Crossroads. It's interesting taking a look at America with these big topics. They're big topics. And this one today is on really a career versus a job. Doing what we're supposed to do in life. Realizing the vision. We all have a vision. We all have something that gets us up in the morning, something we wanted to do. So it really is about pursuing our life's dream, our purpose for being here, whatever that may be, folks. That's really the underlying message of today's show. And we're going to help you along that path here as one of these special series productions. I want to mention to you some of the things. In the first segment, we talked about adversity. Well, we're going to talk about now adversity being your advantage in your career. And some of the other things we talked about in the first segment. There are real-life articles and pieces on all of these you can find at our innovative site, creatingamindshift.com. creatingamindshift.com. It's a whole Brink Thinking series on there. You can take a look at there right there. And I'm very, very pleased to announce today we've launched our another site, getinvolvedgetloud.com. Now, you're hearing it for the first time. And it's a place you can go to sign up and subscribe to our national newsletters. It's right there. And you can also go north, south, west, or east on our platform. Whether it's malcolmoutloud.tv, it's time to get outloud.com, creatingamindshift.com. It's all there. You can see a whole bunch. And these articles and pieces that we're talking about and referencing the shows, you'll find there as well. So have at it. Help yourself there. And you're hearing us on national radio and our television show on malcolmoutloud.tv. So welcome in. And welcome, please, again, back with us, Dr. Bev, Beverly Jackson. Again, real quickly, President, DrBev Mental Health Counseling. She's an author, psychotherapist. Again, you know the drill. We talked about it for real people doing real things, getting into trouble real times and what have you. All of us qualify in that category, I think. And then J.V. Crum III. And he's the founder of Conscious Millionaire, consciousmillionaire.com, of the book, Conscious Millionaire, Grow Your Business by Making a Difference, is good. And JV's doing some very cool things. These guys are all, the people we've had on this series of shows are like, they're outside of the universe, folks. That's all I can tell you about. But again, that's what we've got here today. So, all right, let's get right into it here and talk about, I want to talk about this adversity, but and we've talked about job versus career and having your vision and pursuing that in the early stuff and the earlier comments we made here. There's this whole thing about risk versus reward in our lives. There's a model, actually, understanding the risk versus reward model. You know, we all sort of use this model. Everyone has used this model at one time or another. Okay, I'll give you an example. As a kid, you used the model risk versus reward when you got into trouble, right?
Exactly.
Here's the risk, here's the reward. Do I go ahead and skip school today? Well, let me see, man. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've all kind of done it, risk versus reward.
Yeah, either ask forgiveness or what permission. You got to make a choice.
That's it. That's exactly. For me, it's always asking for forgiveness after the fact.
Might as well,
Hardly ever permission.
because we're going to do it
I
anyway.
do a lot of trouble that way. I'll tell you that much right now. So the whole thing about risk versus reward, how do you go about measuring risk versus reward in life? Let me start with you, Dr. Bev.
You know, that's a real difficult question, and I can understand why you may not have the answer. And I'm not quite sure if I have the answer either. But I think it's different for everyone. Everyone in terms of their risk level, especially emotionally. It starts there emotionally. Some of us have been really traumatized, and we just haven't been able to get over that from childhood.
From whatever,
So that
yeah.
just that risk.
Oh, it definitely
just
starts
gets-
from
it ju-
childhood.
and it just
Definitely.
stops us. It keeps us stuck. I see people in my practice. I see people in my other projects who I know. I just look at them and I see so much potential. And then, but as my Nana says, potential without effort means nothing.
Nothing.
That goes back to that persistence. And adversity, we've got to be able to accept adversity. That's part of reality. That's real life. If you're not able to move past that to get there, then you will stay stuck. You will be in that rut. And I just move that over to you and just say, hey,
What do you think,
let's
JV?
go with it.
Well, you know, I think because I work primarily with entrepreneurs, and one of the first things you have to figure is what is the entrepreneur's risk level that they're comfortable with, right? And what I have found, I have a 7 on a scale of 10. So I can go to bed with a lot of things that a lot of people can't go to bed with. And I find that entrepreneurs who have around a 6 or a 7, that's kind of a good 5.
6 or 7 out of 10.
Yeah, out of 10.
And these are things
10,
that are
10 would be the person who goes to Las Vegas and they're going to spend all the money on the roulette wheel,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So I find that if somebody's at 8, you start looking at danger. And if they're a 9 or a 10, you don't want them on your team at all. You don't want to be doing business with them because they are going to explode
Okay.
because they've got too high of a risk.
What if they
potential.
explode in a good way?
Well, they can explode in a
Yeah.
good way, but it's way too unpredictable.
Dangerous, I see.
But because the thing about
Yes.
risk is you have to manage, and this is the thing I come from, is you have to manage
I see.
risk.
I see.
Yes.
Right. You have
Yeah.
to look at, okay, when you were looking at the cookie jar or missing school or whatever it is, because
Yeah.
we've all done it,
Yeah.
you know, you go, what's the risk, you know, and what's the reward? But you have to manage that in a way, first of all, psychologically, like you were talking about,
Yes.
the 1 to 10. What can you live with psychologically? Second, what can you live with financially? You know, what if you take and you're in your career and you take a big risk that might pay off, but it also might mean that you get canned. And when you get canned, there's not going to be another job or career like that
That's right.
because nobody else is going to want
Well,
to
that's
touch it.
measuring risk and reward right there.
Well,
you need to measure that.
I'll give a personal experience. When I started off with it was years ago now, I took a big risk. I minimized everything, my lifestyle, just my entire life. I minimized it to such a low degree that I was able to, for 5 years, I can do this for 5 years, work 24 hours a day on this low budget that I have, and I'm going to do this. I am going to be successful. I am going to make it
So
happen.
you
because I was
were
willing to take that risk, but it was
managing your risk.
it was a calculated,
risk.
managed risk. I didn't
Right.
just jump out there and say, "Oh, I'm going to do this." No, it didn't happen like
That's
that,
when
and
it
it didn't happen
explodes.
overnight.
I think that's when it explodes.
Right.
When people haven't thought through
Right.
the
Exactly.
decisions they're making.
Yeah.
So it's not risk that you should be afraid of. It's not managing risk.
All right.
Oh,
uh,
wow.
should be
I'm going to
That's-
touch real.
that's profound.
Touch real briefly on this balance of work versus play. You've hit on a couple of times, Dr. Bev, about 25-hour days, so on and so forth, and the schedule that many of us, put up with or do. And I think when you come through the corporate world and early on, or the entrepreneur world, and you're building a business or corporate world, it doesn't matter. Entrepreneur, corporate leader, it takes a lot of you
Yes.
to do what you need to do. And I remember it was a real struggle finding that balance in life of work versus play. So I always came up with this method to my madness, and I kind of camouflaged it by saying, I work hard and I play hard. And that was my camouflage for being a lunatic and, working 30 hours a week. And so, I'm a day. And people saying, you're burning the candle, Malcolm. I said, on both ends. I said, I'm not burning the candle on both ends. What the hell are you talking about? My whole candle's on fire. It ain't burning on ends.
Right.
The candle's lit up, man. So how do you juggle, JB?
Well, I think the real question here, because we hear about you got to pay your dues, you got to pay your dues.
Right.
But really isn't paying your dues giving up your life now on some hope that you're going to get something in the future. So instead of paying your dues, what would happen if you approached your career from instead of paying your dues, you're playing your joy? And if you're not in playing the joy mode, you could still be working 24 hours a day. But it's not about paying the dues, because if you're not feeling the joy right now, why are you doing it?
That's exactly it.
I don't think you should give up today for tomorrow. I think you should figure out a way to feel the joy today and the joy tomorrow.
To me, that is the answer. And that's what I've done, by the way. I have fun at everything I do. I'm not going to do it if I'm not having fun. I got news for you.
There you go. And if
you're not going to aggravate me.
And I'm with you. I work hard, but I play hard. But my work, what other people call work, is my play.
That's it.
And so then when I go for play,
Watch out,
it's
girl.
like, whoa,
Take the town on fire.
Let's lit it up and go cray all the way there. Because what? We do work hard. We do invest in many other people to help them to be the best that they can be, all that they can be. It's such an enjoyment. To call it work would be a travesty for me.
Well, and I think it's
play.
something that people who have a quote-unquote job, because I think if you have a job, you know you have a job because the moment you get there, you're thinking about when you get off.
Exactly.
That's right. That's clock watchers.
Yeah,
clock watchers.
Right.
We see them all the time.
You're going. You just wasting.
I never did a clock. Never.
No,
even when I, as a
absolutely.
young man, 16, 17, working, I never did the clock. You put in everything you can. In sports, the metaphor is leave it all on the field.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, you leave it all there. Don't take. Stay there. Do whatever.
Even
I was
today.
always the last one left. I turned the lights off. Playing ball, I was always the last one off the field. People would say, "What's the matter with you?" There would be no lights left, and I'd be out there playing.
Here, I don't even wear a watch today to signify that. I'm not going to believe in this time thing. It doesn't matter. It's all relative to me.
Right.
Whether I am working with a client and then I jump over to do this, whether it's an 8-hour day, a 12-hour day, or whatever. It's not until the end of it that I realize, wow, I think I feel a little tired here. It's time to get some play in.
Right.
Now it's time to play. That's my balance. That's my balance. When I've done this part of my play, now it's time to do me time, and I call that self-care.
Well,
Self-care.
I think that's so critical.
Yeah.
If we don't have the me time, you're never going to never going to be your best for other people.
There you go.
That's a myth. And you're never going to do your best in your career.
Yeah.
You've got to revitalize.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah.
And I think it's harder, frankly. I think it's harder for women. I've said this for a long time. I really get involved with the women's movement because I love the women's movement because it's championing this new whole way of being where you've got to juggle so many different things. Guys have it easy. We have it easy by comparison. I just want to bring up that I think women with really strong careers, and you've got perhaps a relationship, you've got children. There's so many more dynamic pieces to it. And when I've worked with both men and women, it's women who need the revitalization time because they don't claim their me time as well. It's harder for them.
One of the things that when I work with clients is I have them build in an hour, for 1 hour a day. That's your hour. You put it in your calendar.
Yeah.
Just like you would not miss a client, you would not miss a show, you cannot miss this hour. This hour is your self-care hour. You'll go to my Facebook page and you'll see me at the beach with my dog. You'll see this, you'll see that. And what does it say? Self-care.
Yeah.
That is what I'm doing. I want to model that for you, how to do that.
Yeah.
Self-care. If you don't take care of yourself, you can, especially in my business, if I don't take care of me, what good am I going to do
Well, it's a
client
balance.
with mental health?
It's a balance. That's right. You can't work around the clock without taking that time, whatever it is, and you have to recognize that. Next up, adversity being an advantage in your career. I promised you would talk about that. I want to talk about this adversity business. I find it fascinating how some people find this a real challenge in their lives, the adversity. adversity. And I just think it's a fact of life. I just think you got to get over it at some point. But listen, adversity can mean many, many things to all of us. Could mean misfortune, difficulty, hardship, trouble, distress, disaster, sorrow, misery, pain, trauma, mishap, accident, setback, crisis, catastrophe, calamity, tragedy, burden, or just another freaking day. So it could mean any of those things, kids, huh? So when it comes to adversity, okay, and there's a piece I wrote that is up on the site. You can go find it. Adversity can be your advantage in your career. Let me explain to you what I mean. I want you guys to comment on it, because when you talk again corporate America or entrepreneurship, whatever, okay. All right, there are those people who I would bring into a room, and I used to always watch people and watch their body language and listen to what they're saying and just understand, okay? And many people, and even in the interviewing process, you see this a lot. And you certainly see it once they're hired and through the work process. But there are many people who tell you what it is they think you want to hear.
Yes.
Okay. And then we all succumb to that. And you sort of have to, when you're a leader, or you have to read between all the weeds on that and know when they're BSing you, because, it's not good. That's where authenticity's out the window. It just doesn't work.
And integrity.
Yeah, totally out the
Integrity.
window. Totally out the window.
Because I'm thinking, when you're telling somebody what you think they want to hear, you're just lying.
Of course you are.
Let's call it what
Let's
it is.
call it what it is.
Yeah.
It's a lie. It's a lie.
You're being a
lie is a
politician.
lie.
That's what you're
A
talking
lie is a
about.
lie.
You're being a politician. So tell them what you want to hear, man. So I just come back to that. It's the root cause of evil, man. So, but,
You got that right.
got that right. So sorry, kids, what I do. Within that, to me, I sort of, and especially being a creative guy in a creative field and a creative mindset, looking for new horizons, change, life, innovation, people, be everything we can possibly be, and leave nothing left. I want it all there till I'm done, till the Lord takes me and says, you're out of there, man. You're overexposed. You've done it. So, but when you see some of these people, and that authenticity is not there, what have you, I want to say this: that there are those people who are what I call the troublemakers. I want to talk a second about troublemakers. Okay,
the Debbie Downers.
But troublemakers are one. But here's the thing, Dr. Bev. I think troublemakers can be very good.
Very good teachers.
Very
good teachers.
Well, they can be very good for everything. I mean, they can be very good for our political society, our businesses, our lives, for a lot of reasons. And I'll tell you why. A lot of reasons. They make us think, number one. Okay, They put us on our toes. But they're also the ones who are probably going to innovate before everyone else, because they're tipping the canoe up. They're not afraid to tip it over. So in other words, those people, all right, when you're in an interview or you're in a corporate setting, they're the ones who are probably going to say something that's probably going to piss off 5 people, but 25 people will like them. But there are going to be some people who they'll upset. And that's just the way it is. A committee meeting. I know, because I'm one of those people. When you had me at a board meeting or a committee meeting, if you didn't want the truth, you darn well better not ask the question.
Yeah,
I'm not a PC kind of guy.
I understand.
Exactly. We're all there.
We're all there, because I was a member of a group here in Tampa. I won't mention the name, but in the first month, it was a year-long group. The leader took me aside. It was so funny. It was so funny. They said, do you think you could just stop asking those questions this year? And I said, there's not a chance. There is not a chance, because I'm the gadfly. If somebody doesn't ask the questions, who's going to? Yeah.
And if you're
not going to see the truth if you don't get those questions out there.
If you're not going to be real, if you're not going to be authentic, if you're not going to be really there, then you don't come see Dr. Bev. Because if you want the truth, go to one of those therapists down the hall, okay? Because I'm going to give it to you real, raw, authentic, and that's
well,
what
I know
people
that about
need
you.
To move ahead.
When he says he's the gadfly, I thought he was going to say he's the godfather. I said, no, turn your page here, Dr. Bev.
Like say, look, if you don't want the truth, don't come to either one of us, okay? Because it's not going to happen, guys.
I wish you were wearing some of that. But, what I want to say, that in the corporate setting, I want to encourage people to encourage those, because it's the same thing with kids, with little Johnny that's always getting into trouble or being creative or innovative. He's probably going to grow up to be pretty brilliant, and you're all trying to hold the kid back and telling him no all the time. And again, we condition the society. Guys, wake up. Especially you that have kids and children, and you want to stifle them, and you want to keep telling them, no, you can't do that. No, they hear no so many times, and by the time they're an adult, they're never going into the bank for the new loan for the new business because they think the answer is no.
Right. Yeah.
That's all they know is no.
I have so many stories that I can tell
But
about
they're doing
that.
it out there, Dr. Bev.
But this is where people like us come in, where
Yeah.
people listen to your podcast,
Right.
they listen to they watch your news show, they read your book,
Right.
and then they start thinking about, okay, I have a human being that I'm growing up here, this child. Maybe I ought to open a box for them. I had a kid one time, he has Asperger's, and he was always breaking down clocks. He would just take them apart. If you had a clock anywhere, he would take it apart. But guess what? The little boy would just spend hours and hours and hours until he got it back together and he fixed it. His mother was always getting, don't break that clock. Stop, don't touch it. She would put the clocks way up here so he couldn't get them. The kid would climb up and he'd do it. But guess what? Years later, even with Asperger's, he works on those huge clocks, the older antiques clocks, and he is excellent at what he does. When someone said he couldn't do, he'd never make money, he'd be sitting at home at 30 or 40 just watching television. Look, here's a kid with Asperger's who's what? He's making a good 6 figures.
I hold that thought there, but all right, so you're listening again to Dr. Bev, Beverly Jackson, and J.V. Crum III. And, you know, there's so much to learn from all of this conversation. I mean, for your lives, your businesses, executives, your kids, your family. I don't know, it's just good reminders for all of us. It's good business hygiene, I call it, and whatever the case is, helps us be the best we can possibly be. Again, I want to invite you into our new platform. Get involved, getloud.com. It's where it's all at. You can decide where you want to go from there and subscribe to things ahead. And I want to give a shout out real quick to one of our sponsors again. I really appreciate having, you know, there are a lot of good people who fall into trouble in their life from a business perspective, and some of it's very accidentally, they don't even know, and sometimes you run into a real problem with the IRS, you know? And there are a lot of Americans who are struggling with that, and for whatever reason or another, or the IRS maybe has crossed their bounds, or their whatever the case may be. Anyways, the IRS is not anybody you want to deal with one-on-one. You want to have some special help for that. I want to recommend a gentleman who does brilliant work around the nation, and it's Gil Munoz, M-U-N-O-Z, Gil Munoz, and I've got to give you the website right now. GJM, it's Gilbert J. Munoz, so GJM, say that fast 3 times, real fast, GJM-CPA.com. We'll get it to you there. And check out their services, what they're doing. If you need help in your business, you're an entrepreneur, and they do tax preparation and all that as well nationally for folks. So check them out. We'll be right back with you right after the break here. Stay with us.
Remember, every tax problem does have a solution.
Well, we're joining you back here for our special series, American Values at the Crossroads, and laughing like hell through the break for sure. So back with me again, Dr. Beverly Jackson. I want to give you her website now. It's DR for Dr. BevMentalHealth.com. DrBevMentalHealth.com. Again, she just is really dealing with the whole bag of goods when it comes to helping people through their trouble spots of their life. I've been so pleased with Dr. Bev and her perspective and her angle on things. And J.V. Crum III, if you want to become a millionaire, you want to be cautious while you're becoming it, he's probably the man. So cautiousmillionaire.com. He's got a book out and a podcast as well that's doing really well. He's a great guy. He's got great ideas, great vision. I'm thrilled to have both of them with me. They're spectacular folks as we've had on this series. So again, we're talking again about our careers, our businesses, that risk versus reward in our lives, but also pursuing your vision, the path, the reason there's a reason we're all here. It's a reason we're all here today. I believe in that. I believe in that connectivity of all of this stuff, folks. It's what actually excites me about it all. When knowing each day is that way when I take on the day, you know what I mean? What I'm going to do today. And I kind of do that in my mind when I plan the day. You know, it's the good stuff, you know, that this is what's good. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're going to talk on national radio. We're going to talk to these, these people here, do the show. It's just cool stuff when you think about the people we meet on a daily basis. So good to enjoy life, I guess, is what it is.
Yes, it is. And I never know what adventures are going to come.
That's right.
I walked in the door today, and here's another adventure,
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
love
just
it.
loving it. And I get to have an adventure with you. That's always fun.
always
okay,
crazy
but that's
stuff.
the life that we live because we enjoy our passion,
That's it.
and we're here doing it.
So we're on that passion note. I want to, we've talked about the adversity bit. And I want to just sum up there. This one thought about comfort zones again, because it's one of my pet peeves is comfort zones. Right? Again, it's a human ailment. It's one of the things I write and talk about frequently. Is comfort zones that the problem with comfort zones, folks, is they're just way too comfortable.
It's called fear.
It probably is. I'm sure it is. Here's what I say to all of this: that the rule of the road for this comfort zone talk, folks. Okay, keep your goals in sight always. Your life vision, that mission, you can't not lose that ever, folks. Ever, for nobody. Don't do it for anybody. Don't do it for your spouse, your friend. Don't do it for nobody. Okay, got to keep that in play. Okay, everything else should change frequently. Everything else should change frequently. It doesn't matter. I don't change at all. I don't care. Change whatever you want to change. Do it. Makes you feel better. Do it. Whatever. Your spouse giving you a hard time. Throw their ass out the door. No. I didn't say that.
You got to come and see Dr. Bev. We're going to give Dr. Bev a lot of business tonight.
Strike that. Joe, wipe that from the show. Edit that out, please. Anyways.
No, let's keep that. Let's keep that one in. That's a good one. Bring me some money. I love
Yeah,
it.
Dr. Bev's going to be rolling now.
Go to DrBev Mental Health Counseling,
I
right?
got you. I got you.
All right. So on that point, comfort zones. So we have this comfort zone thing, and here's the thing I want to say about this. And I'm going to turn it to you guys a minute and say this, but we have this thing about that people do that, again, you've heard me talk about this, JV, so you know I get pretty fired up with it. And I'm not going to get crazy this afternoon with you, maybe a little bit, but we're going to think outside the box, We're going to think, it's the most ridiculous thing somebody could say. It's so stupid. I'm going to think outside the box. The only people that say that anymore are a bunch of morons. I mean, why would you think outside the box? Why do you carry a box around in your life? If you're carrying a box around in your life, take a Bic lighter and set the sucker on fire and kill it. Kill the box. Why do people have boxes? And I love at these corporate meetings, they sit there and waste 3 hours talking about God knows what, and then somebody turns the freaking light bulb on and says, we got to come up with an idea, an unorthodox idea or something. God forbid. I could have had a V8. I mean, am I right or wrong? It's the craziest thing, this comfort zone
absolutely.
business.
Yeah, I think,
Go
Dr.
for it.
Bev, I was thinking you hit it on the head when you said adventure. Because my number one goal in life, I have all these visions for Conscious Millionaire, my global nonprofit and youth. But when I say what is the number one thing I want to have had, a life of adventure. And adventure has nothing to do with the comfort zone. Adventure is walking in the room and doing whatever feels authentic, and you don't care how different it is.
Hell, that's Thelma and Louise, ain't it?
And you don't care what people think about you.
That
what
is so important.
You
I
don't
remember-
look at how they
absolutely.
judge. You forget
Absolutely.
all of that, and you go, "What? I am the one in the room that I'm just going to be me. It just is what it is.
They like it, they like it, they don't.
And they don't. And some do, some don't.
That's
But
it.
you know what?
It's
I get
okay.
the best of the best. There it is,
that's
right
it.
here.
It's okay.
And that's what happens
okay.
because I am having adventures. I
Right.
am looking for an adventure every day. Every
Absolutely.
day
But,
there's an adventure.
I think that we need to I'll own up that probably one of the hardest things, probably the biggest struggle of my life, most of my life, because it's really only in the last few years that I got there.
Okay.
That I finally felt so self-accepting that I didn't care what other people thought.
There you go.
Right? But I want to own what a hard journey that is, because anybody listening to it, I mean, we can say just own yourself, or we can say just love yourself, but that's the hardest thing. And once you get to that point, then you're free.
Well, listen,
Real
in my
freedom
business,
is just to be who you
you
are.
can't have you can't be a fair weather friend. I mean, I get emails and people in, and some agree, some don't agree, and they tell you what train to get off, what exit to
And
take.
that's
So
okay. But I'm
whatever.
with you. I'm with you on that. You have to know what that adventure is for you, and if you're willing to go the distance to do that,
Right.
if you're willing to live
Well, now
your
that
life
comes
in
back
the,
to the
in
risk
the
reward that we were
in
talking
the
about.
present
Exactly
moment,
it.
if you're willing
Yeah.
to stay in the present moment, or you want to stay stuck back there in the past. And again, that brings me back to the emotional element. That emotional element will keep people just stuck. Adversity will just knock them down. They won't get back up. They'll say, oh, I failed, so I'm never going to do that again. Well, if you believe you're never going to do it again, you're never going to love again, you're never going to be
And there are
successful
people
again,
who live their
then
lives
you're-
that way.
Then you're
sadly,
not.
Sadly.
Right. That
Dr.
is
Bev,
true.
I want to ask you, how should somebody, or how can somebody stay optimistic, okay, and productive after a setback in their lives?
Take care of your emotional health. MH, that's what I say to people. MH, mental health. Pay attention. Now, you don't have to pay dues. All you have to do is pay attention. Pay attention to your mental and your emotional health. If you do that, I don't know what you guys have been through during this week. It could have been anything. It could have been a train wreck. It could have been someone died in your family. It could have been anything. But guess what? You're up here today, you're doing your thing, and you're having fun with it. Adversity, I tell it, adversity is just like haters. Haters are nothing but motivation.
That's
Those
it.
people that want to
That's
shut
it.
you down and
That's
say,
it.
"Hey, let's think inside the box. Let's go
That's it.
outside of the
That's
box." You don't even have a box.
That's
You
it. I
don't even
love
have a
that.
circle.
Haters. Adversity can be an advantage in your career. What she's saying is tell the haters to go to Haiti.
And not even there, because they don't want you there either.
No, they don't,
okay?
huh?
Because you know what? Haters are our motivation.
Yeah,
Haters
they
are the
are.
one who
That's
says,
great.
"Oh, you
Well
know
said.
what, JB? You can't do that. You won't be able to accomplish that.
Oh,
That
yeah.
dream that you're thinking about with the children and doing that.
Right.
Oh, and being on TEDx. This guy's gonna be on TEDx soon. I just know that." You can't do that. You're going to fail. I'm sure, Malcolm, you have had that. What are you doing? You're launching this, you're doing that, you're
Yeah.
doing this, you're
Yeah.
doing that. They have told you what?
Yeah.
Oh, you're crazy. Oh, they told you you're real stupid.
Well,
but
and
guess
some
what?
people,
But look at where you are now.
Some people can weather the storm better than others for whatever reason, because they probably have the mental health, or they put things in perspective, or they know what comes next. Listen, when people tell me I can't do it or no, I've never been motivated by losers, in that way. In other words, they don't shape my life, only to the point that I use that as fire and in my belly,
There you go,
energy,
motivation.
And in that sense, but that's always been the way for me. But I was a bit of a wise ass as a kid as well. I mean, what I'm saying is I'm still a wise ass. In other words, I'm gonna do it my way. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, take a number and sit at the butcher stand. You'll be one of many.
Well, I deal with this with entrepreneurs. First of all, and these are sad realities, but you
Yes.
got to decide. I tell people, you got to decide where you want to live, and you got to decide how you want to show up. You got to decide what you want to do with your life. Because first of all, the good news is also the bad news.
Yes,
That
it is.
80% of the people aren't going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. So I go, first of all, you're not even competing with 80% of the people, so don't worry about it. Now, the next 20%, there's 10% that are going to do something, but it's really about 3% of the people who really achieve a lot. Now, the good news about that is if you really want to do a lot with your life, there's only 3% of the people, if you see them as competitors, that you're even competing with.
Cool.
And the better thing is that you're competing with real competitors worth competing with, so that you all can be better.
Well, our goal with this production then is to raise that 3% north.
Right, absolutely. Because I think there's room in that 3% for the 100%.
Yes, get more people
Well,
on the train.
and I agree with the
That's it.
both of you, because I always say there's enough food at the table for
Oh,
everybody to
definitely.
eat. I love win-win situations.
Absolutely.
And it's that
Absolutely.
3% that you're talking
Yeah.
about that believe in win-win, and they
Right.
are authentic enough to go forward and stick through that adversity.
And I think that's the important thing, is that the 3% should be a model that if you're not in that 3%, look at what they're doing, because you can be.
Right.
The message isn't that there's only room for 3% in the 3%. There's actually room for 100% there. It's just dependent on what quality you want to play at.
Yeah.
Wow, there's that quality of life quote.
Yeah.
I really,
Yeah.
really love
Yeah.
that.
It's another-
What do you want your quality of life to be?
Yeah. Well, and there's another piece I wrote, guys. Look at this person I got here with the masking tape on their mouth. So it's put up or shut up. The guy's got masking tape on his mouth here. We like to do that to some people, probably. Yeah, but so listen. So the key is, I know we've touched a bit on integrity. Sure, of course. I think it's an overused word, but what's behind integrity is never overused. And authenticity, I think, is a real good word, because so So many people lack authenticity, and it's a word that's not overused in corporate America for whatever reason, I don't know. If I could see one more company that used the word integrity in their taglines: integrity, quality, and service. What I used to say is, in the agency world, integrity, service, and quality, integrity, and service bend over. I mean, in other words, those words are used so like you don't even know what the hell they're selling anymore. It's like, okay, whatever, blah 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 blah. Anyways, my point to this, as I get off my soapbox here a moment here, is the put up or shut up. This piece I'd written a while back here is about, it gets back to authenticity. In other words, the one thing I've said, JV, in corporate boardrooms in my life and to others in whatever setting we're in, is, you know what? At the end of the day, no matter what happens here or what we're doing, the one thing you will always have that they can't take from you is your word. Your word is your word. Yeah, don't give, and you know, this used to really tick me off. This is a great experiment and something we need to talk about in career, in this life, business, job setting. Because in life, there were those people that, again, in those settings, who would just, oh my God, they couldn't help themselves. They would promise stuff on Friday, knowing full well you wouldn't get it on Friday. It's like the people who say, we'll have it at 3 o'clock, and 3 o'clock comes and goes, and you know, who the hell knows what time it's going. Why those people, they can't even help themselves. There's so many problems that fit that narrative. The point being that at the end of the day, never, 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 never trade your word for anything. And that, a lot falls into that, but that is a golden rule of mine in this course. So I'm not going to tell you anything that isn't the truth. And if you like it, fine. If you don't like, but that to me is where it's at. That's sexy.
Okay, I want to move from it. I'm with you on that thing, integrity. I want to talk about ethics.
Ethics.
Do you have some ethics?
Well, that falls right in there.
Some morals? Yeah, everyone says they have integrity,
right.
But I watch a few commercials and you see some integrity, okay? Yeah. That's all I got to say about that.
Well,
but ethics,
put up or shut up.
Ethics, that's right, put up or shut up.
Ethics, authenticity, it's all there, man.
Do you have that? Then we can roll. Then we can talk about that person who wants to become a millionaire, who may have had just a horrible existence, you know, from birth on up, but they finally see, maybe in you, in some program, in something, they see that ethics, that moral compass that they want to follow, that you model, that they say, you know what, I need to do something about my emotional health so I can get to this guy so that he's willing to work with me. Right. I've got to work on me first.
And I was thinking about your book, because really keeping your word is knowing when to say no. Mm-hmm. You know, and because it's hard to say no, because you're getting your arm twisted. I want to hear you say yes. I want to hear you say yes. And then someone's upset with you, but you said yes, and that's your responsibility.
My clients always knew.
And you have to learn to say no.
When I talked, it was like E.F. Hunt, and you listened, because I never told the fib. If I told you it was going to be Friday, you'll have it Friday. There's you don't have to, there's nothing you have to decipher through. It's the way it is. Right. It's amazing stuff when you break it down. But these, my friends, are the ingredients to being successful in any of this.
Right.
Any of this.
And I think the ethics, the morals, it really comes down to being your truth.
Yeah. Your truth.
Your true self.
But letting other people know what that truth is, because then they know I can rely on this, but I can't rely on that, and that's okay.
I'm going to one
your truth.
And then also being aware that I'm willing to let you be your true self.
Right.
And your true self may be a little different from mine.
We're talking about that because I've been to Esalen, and we have that Esalen background. I wrote a paper, and I created, it was an article, and I created this concept, the table of humanity. And I'd already been at the Buddhist monastery in Esalen, and so I was living in Boulder at the time, okay? I asked myself, what's necessary for us to all sit at a table of humanity together?
Yes.
And one of the most important ingredients, I decided, was that I had to be willing to let you sit next to me if all of your values and all of your behaviors and everything about you was completely the opposite of what I stood for. Mm-hmm. And therefore, if you were going to be at the table of humanity, the most common thing that you had to have, everyone had to have, was respect.
Yes.
For letting everyone else be who they are.
Thank you.
Even when you don't like anything about it.
Thank you.
Don't be an idiot. Yeah, and there are a lot of people who are that way, JV. Just to be that way, you know, you're so right. There's a lack of. In fact, you know, we're seeing that in society everywhere. We're seeing it in our political circles. We're seeing there's no respect. There's no respect.
Right.
It's just poo-poo on
we
you.
can't get enough respect to come to common agreement.
Not at all.
Can you say that 2 times twice?
Right. And that doesn't matter what view you have. There's just no respect going on.
Yeah, no, it's void. It's void in a lot of our society. It's just void. It doesn't exist anymore. We're seeing, I talked a lot on another segment I did about Sun Tzu, the art of war,
Right.
and which I did a whole segment on it, which is very cool stuff. But I really do believe, to the degree of when we're children and when we're born and we're raised and we come through this, and young people, and life is very much in very ways. The chapters we come through in life are very much just like you're at war. It's like you're at war with everybody at times. What I'm saying, there are so many lessons in there to learn.
Yes.
There are so many people who are being victimized by others that sadly, those are the people I'm trying to reach here to whatever degree we can. Whatever they're victimized. One of my principal points of this platform is to right the wrongs and fix the injustices in the world, whatever they may be. You understand? Mm-hmm. And that is just philosophically what I believe. Mm-hmm. I don't like to see people being taken advantage of, whatever that might be. And I think it's wrong.
Well, there's no truth going on. When you're taking and manipulating and just when you're asking the question, I talk about the difference between conscious marketing and unconscious marketing. I call that old school. Okay. You might be doing a lot of the same things. For instance, we talk a lot about on my podcast about adding value to the world first and then getting paid. But if you added value just with the intention of getting paid, that's different than if you added value with the intention of adding value.
That's right. Right.
And then the pay comes back.
That's always
the
latter is always
one comes from your heart.
Always.
And one is just a manipulation.
It takes care of itself. It totally is.
I agree with the both of you that when you're doing your passion, when you've overcome those adversities, when you've been through that hard time, that is when you look at yourself and you go, wow.
Yeah. Wow. It's a wow moment.
I did it.
Yeah,
it is a moment that just stays right there. Right. But it's going through.
Yeah, I'm going to give you another wow moment right now. I'm gonna set up a program and give him a run for his money. I'll call it Conscious Gazillionaire.
You just gave him another idea.
I know.
The guy's going to come up with a
elite club.
And there you go. He'll come up with a vision for that too.
And you know what? And the gazillionaire isn't in money. It's in all the other things we're talking about. It's got nothing to do with money. It's got everything to do with everything else. That would be the people I'd let into the Conscious Gazillionaire Club. Yeah. When you get that down, and you can check all those boxes, kids, you can come in the door. Other than that, keep moving.
Well, I put this in another term here. I wrote an article, and it came from one of these rap songs I heard, and it was saying about a woman, you're a dime piece, meaning that you're the top of the line, a dime piece. And I started thinking about that. A dime piece. A dime is what I used to put in my penny loafer. You mean to tell me I'm only worth a dime? So I wrote this crazy article.
I was growing up in a rich family because all I had was a penny.
Your poor
the
thing
penny
there.
loafer.
The penny loafer.
Penny loafer.
Well, phone calls were a dime back then, so Dad made me put
I'm
a
looking
dime
for
in
half
mine.
$1.
Okay. So let's move this up to not being just a dime piece, but a million piece, but a mazillion piece, but a gazillion piece. But you do that like you said, but you've got to do it from your heart. If you're doing what you're doing just to make money, if I did what I'm doing just to make money, I would not do it.
You can be successful, but you will never be the success you could be.
There you go. I would never live the quality of life that I have.
It's a void.
Now.
Right. You're in a void.
Okay?
Yeah.
I because I'm passionate about what I do.
And it all comes down to what level do you want to play at?
There you go.
What do you want out of your life?
If you want top shelf,
who do you want to be?
There you go.
Because the truth is, you can be a 3 or you can be a 10.
That's it.
And you alone are the one who decides that.
Oh, that's it. Well said. All right, so last thought. We're down to a minute or so here. That's it. And it goes by quickly, love. It really does. So last thought, we're talking about our careers, our business, and this vision we're encouraging people to pursue. And to raise that 3% stake up higher, to get more people in the game, on the train, in the bus.
At the highest level.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about, because it's better when you can play with all those people. It's good stuff.
Oh, yes.
Last word on that. What do you think?
Hey, I say go out there, believe in yourself, trust in yourself, have faith, and do what? MH, mental health. Go get you some.
Spoke like a real good psychotherapist.
Well, I'm going to compliment that because my mission is to help and nobody's ever done this, help 1 million people create their first $1 million.
Oh, cool.
Right?
Cool.
And that's what Conscious
That's a hell
Millionaire
of
is
a
about.
legacy.
Because that's a game changer.
Wow.
That's
It's
a
a game
game
changer
changer.
right here. Because when you make the first, you make the second.
Yeah.
It changes what you can do for your children, what you can do for society,
Yeah.
your quality of life.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, who you
Yeah.
show up as in your life. So I'm on a mission to help 1 million people make their first $1 million.
That's great. No, that was a great goal. And I also think that gazillionaire club needs to
I
start too,
think
folks.
it's a great club.
Okay, I'm joining. VIP, here I come.
You have to be a gazillion. It's a VIP group.
There
you have
you
to have
go.
the ethics and the authenticity and the integrity and all the things we chatted about.
exactly.
But I want to invite everybody to be in the VIP group because I think we all deserve to live that way for our lives.
Yes.
You know, we
Yes.
all deserve to give ourselves and other people.
So
that.
again, yeah, J.V. Crum III, ConsciousMillionaire.com, the book Conscious Millionaire, Grow Your Business by Making a Difference. And it really is the essence. It's great stuff because you don't hear that a lot out there. And it's great. It's got a podcast out there too, Conscious Millionaire. So
Right.
you see JV out there. And Dr. Bev, Beverly Jackson, what can you say? Website is DrBevMentalHealth.com. And she's got it all going on and is helping people all over the place. And you can seek out and talk to Dr. Bev. We'll have all the contact points up on the site. You'll see more of it there. And again, first word back to our radio audience again and our television audience. Thank you very much. The special series continues. But again, subscribe, get involved, get loud. It's a new piece, new platform. No, you're just hearing it for the first time. Get involved, getloud.com. And it was radio asked for it to connect all the dots because we have a lot of dots here. A lot of dots in the game here going. I got to connect the dots here so you can all follow what's going on, you know. And we'll see you back at our digital news magazine, MalcolmOutloud.tv. Thanks for joining me again. It's Malcolm Out Loud. Remember, get involved, get loud.